Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On That Note Podcast. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Calvin. We are back at it. Yeah.
Man,
we took a break for a little bit.
Okay, we've been going for a minute.
Yes.
Now we're back with the jump off.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that we are doing like mid-season breaks just to like collect ourselves, get some thoughts together.
Shit, but we needed it.
Yeah, seriously, and it was super helpful.
It was.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we've had y'all wait for 2 weeks, so we can jump right on.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
So while you were sleeping, for me this week, I want to talk about a newer artist on the scene. Her name is Angelica Villa.
Okay.
I might just be throwing a pronunciation on that last name. It might be Villa. I'm not sure.
Is it one L or two?
It's one.
Okay. Well,
so
but maybe yeah.
But Angelica has this song out called "More in the Morning," and it has a dope hook, but the sample is what really sold me.
Yeah.
And I was playing it for you before we started up. But it samples one of my favorite songs, which is Bonnie and Shine. I love that song.
It's so funny because I've heard that song a million times and I love that song so much, but I never knew the name of the song.
Oh, for real? Like, the more you know,
exactly.
No, I love that song.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, you got Barrington Levy like holding it down the hook, Shine, amazing. But Angelica does her thing on More in the Morning. She has the video out, and I was shocked because. So first and foremost, shout out to my homegirl Evangeline because she was the one that put me on to this song. And literally, we were on. I was supposed to say on Facebook Live, but we were really on FaceTime. We were on FaceTime the other day, and she was like, she had played the song for me, and I was like, oh my God, that's dope. And like, I got in my car later that day and heard it on the radio. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's just a really dope track. I definitely think that with it coming out in this month, it's definitely gonna be a song that continues to build as we get closer to summertime. Yeah. Because I mean the beat is crazy.
It's a summer track.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah.
So she signed to Rock Nation, I'm pretty sure, is what I saw. And I was also reading that she's from the Bronx. Okay. So, she's still kind of like coming up. But it also said that the track was produced by Cool and Dre. So if you know anything about Cool and Dre, they've been at it for a minute. But the most recent big project that they worked on was the Carters. They did a lot of the production on the Carters.
Gotcha. Okay.
So More in the Morning, Angelica Villa.
Okay.
Or
Villa. Exactly. Yeah. It's a really like you said, you played it for me, and I like it a lot. So I will be listening to that on my own, and then hopefully listening to it on some rooftops this summer.
Facts.
So yeah.
What you got for us this week?
My While You Were Sleeping is actually someone that probably most of you all already know. So my While You Were Sleeping is Sammy. But a lot of you probably don't know that he's still making music. So it's just so funny because, if you know Sammy, like, I know Sammy. It's like from maybe he was like 12 when he first released like I Like It and like Crazy Things I Do and like all that other stuff. And like very, very young. So like that phase happened. Right. But then he had the second wave of like when he did Come With Me and like You Should Be My Girl, started like 2006. And that was a moment, right? Like
yes. Oh my God, yes.
But like again, just kind of like faded away. And he always had, like, he was always just a great, even at a young age, had a really good quality to his voice. And then as he got older, like, he improved. He's actually, like, currently one of my more favorite male voices, if that is something that can be said. Just because of what he's able to do with his voice. So, like, he has an album out now called Everlasting, and there's a single on there that I really like, and I think he already has a music video for it. It's an acronym HLITL. It basically stands for How Long Is Too Long. And then another track on there that I really like called Stupid. It's interesting. Like, a lot of the album is him, like... I think maybe he just went through a breakup, or maybe, I don't know, is realizing in older age that, like, the shit that he used to do to, like, women was trash. And it's kind of, like, throughout the album, that's pretty much just what he's saying. Basically just, like... Lots of apologies, lots of, like, I should have done this, I should have done that. Which is, like, reflective and, I think, good for a man to do.
And I am happy that this awakening is happening a little bit younger.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
yeah, as opposed to, right.
I mean, you ain't got to be 50 to realize that you've been an asshole.
Yeah, right.
For the majority of your life.
Exactly.
So
yeah. But yeah, Sammy, check him out. Also... If you have not heard, have you heard when he did, you know the song, what is it called? The Twister song?
Overnight Celebrity?
No. It's, Daddy, I'm calling you Daddy. I can't remember what that song. It's called Wet. Or something like that. Wet. Because Sammy's version is called Wetter. Like Sammy's version. Yeah, you've heard that, right? Yeah, right. I know you have. Because I have too. So, again, it's just like Sammy is... I think maybe the while you were sleeping aspect of it is just the fact that, like, he is so talented and isn't in the forefront as much as I think that maybe he should be. But hopefully with this album, he will get a little bit more recognition.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Okay, I dig it.
So, I can... Lord have mercy. I can kick off the gossip folks for this episode, if you would like. Please. We have a few things. Let's just get through the mess first.
Yes. Because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yes, on the other side of the mess. Yes. So let's do that. So, Jesse. A situation that the last time we talked about this was mess, and now is just it's the never ending story. You see, do you remember that movie, The Never Ending Story?
Hated it.
Like, yeah, and I hate this too. Like, so I don't even know. I'm not even sure what to say. I think so. Okay, updates, I guess. So as of maybe a week or a couple of weeks ago, just kind of randomly on a Tuesday morning, there was this big announcement that, like, Jesse was cleared of all charges.
No, that was, like, legit just past
week.
It
was like Tuesday.
Yeah.
I
thought you said a couple of weeks ago.
No, it was Tuesday, wasn't it?
Jesus. Yeah, that just happened.
My life. So Tuesday, this happens. And kind of like the day that he was arraigned, kind of like the day that he was charged, kind of like the day that he was a victim. It's just like the day is full of, like, I'm on CNN Live just like hour by hour, just like different updates. This person is saying this person is saying that. You know, the police are outraged. The state's attorney for Cook County is saying, well, you know, there's one attorney that says, you know, essentially because of the fact that it's not a violent offense, first time offender, and he pledged his, like, bond to the city of Chicago. Like, essentially within the statement of dropping the charges, they gave those reasons, or at least they brought that up, and then his attorney says there was no agreement, and Jesse says, like, I didn't do any of this shit. There are lots of mixed stories from everywhere, and it's very, very hard. And again, and I said this last time, no one, like, Jesse is taking that night to the grave. No one is ever gonna know what actually happened on that night.
That's true.
That's just, I mean, like, no one's gonna know what really happened.
At this point, I'm
I don't care. Yeah, that
you know?
part, and I think that is more so the meat of what I want to talk about, because you're right. At this point, I don't care as much about that.
Yeah.
It's just like all of the conversations surrounding this situation has become a bit toxic from either end.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot. So yeah, I mean, let's talk. Let me hear it.
I mean, so my biggest thing with it is, I think I said this last time. My biggest issue in all of it, you know, besides the fact, you know, this Black queer man has experienced this instance of, you know, racial and sexual identity-based violence, then I think as a community we could do more by way of support. Okay. Right? You know what I mean? Sure. Like it's and my thing with that is, to support somebody, it really usually doesn't cost very much. Yeah. It usually in many ways doesn't even require that much of you. But the energy that I witness people putting into, oh, he a liar, da 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 da, and this is before any so-called evidence popped up. So I was just like, that's interesting and that's weird, right? And that's not the same energy we keep for a lot of stuff. Yeah. But I've also noticed that when things don't happen to like straight Black men, a lot of times as a community, the collective outrage just isn't there. And I say that because I mean, even when, you know, Black women are being targeted by the police or have, you know, experienced different acts of violence, you know, people weren't shouting down Corinne Gaines' name or you know what I'm saying, and to the same tune of some of the men. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pit us against each other, but it's just
we are doing it to ourselves. Right. The divide is there.
It is noticeable, and it's noticeable to those within the community that share those intersections. So it just caused me to wonder, you know, if I were in a similar situation, to what degree would people who I think would be supportive, how would they support me, or how would they have my back? So all that is just like, you know, some of the thoughts I was having. Okay. I think though, again, as the case started to unfold, or I don't even know if it's unfolded, whatever, I just think that there were a lot of inconsistencies coming from the law enforcement side.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And inconsistencies, like I've never heard any other story come out of Jussie Smollett's camp other than what he originally said. Okay. Like that was the one story. There were no changed details. That was the story. Like this is what happened. Whereas from the other side, it was, okay, he did it because he wanted them to take the threats he was getting more seriously. Yeah. Or he did it because he wanted more money. Yeah. Or, you know, and it's just like everything just kept on changing. Or it was presenting facts that were immediately disputed. Oh, he paid the brothers to do that. But then the brothers are like, no, he paid us to train him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was too much back and forth. And then I also just had a real issue with the expediency of how they were trying to move in this case to convict him, to lob charges at him, when I'm like, y'all are out here, like, killing unarmed Black people. Y'all are out here,
like, hiding, like, evidence, you know, throwing things under the rug. Right. Like
so let's not have all this, all this sudden
interest in justice
and doing our jobs. You know, when that's just not the case. So even to this point, where I guess Rahm Emanuel or some other leadership, you know, in the area were just saying how it was a miscarriage of justice, or you know. People were, and maybe I thought that I heard that he had some comments, but at any rate, people in that sphere have seemingly expressed a level of outrage or disappointment when I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that same disappointment and outrage when your officers were getting off for killing, you know, people, unarmed, innocent people in your city. So.
No, I agree. I think so. What I've seen a lot just in the discussion is maybe perhaps, and I agree with you 100% on all of that. But I think there's maybe a nuance there in this story that's just very difficult to pair out, and I'm not sure if people are doing the work to really figure out what they believe, you know? So camps, right? That's a word that you use. I'm going to take your word. There are very much lots of different camps. And what's unfortunate is now we have Trump, you know, talking about the FBI and like, oh, they're going to go in and investigate and all this other shit. So it's just like, Trump, yeah, like he tweeted and he was just like, yeah, now the FBI is going to investigate the dropping of the charges and stuff like that. So again, never ending story. This is just
using resources for
right. And so it's just like, first and foremost, fuck Trump forever. First and foremost,
always. That's always the show stance.
And even with the Chicago police, like you said, keep that same energy. Like, don't. I 100% believe that it is entirely unfair for them to be going so hard for this Jussie situation when they have not gone this hard, like you said, for any other situation, especially in as it relates to like Black folks in their city. With all of that, you know, not believing that, or not even, it's not even an issue of belief. Not fucking with those camps doesn't necessarily mean for me that I believe that Jussie was telling the truth. Like, I just think that there is a path that says, like, you know, we should believe victims, right? We should. Like, just generally baseline. If there's something to dispute that, maybe we look at that and determine whether or not, you know, because we do have situations where people are wrongly convicted for those types of things. So, like, let's look into that. Let's just be even-keeled on all aspects.
Right.
But further than that, like, in this situation, Jussie definitely should not have gotten the sentence that he was facing. Right. I never believed that he honestly should have even gone to jail for this.
16 felony counts.
Yeah, and beyond that, like, I think that, and I maybe said this before, but the Chicago police honestly were just butthurt. Like, I think that they were really upset, and they were embarrassed, and they were out for blood. And even if they know something that we don't, like, that doesn't mean that the book needs to be thrown at this man. Right. You know? And there's... But even with that, right, there's this nuance of, like, there's so many different things at play, because it's just, like, would somebody perhaps that was not a celebrity or doesn't have the pull or resources that Jussie has, would that person, with this same instance, been able to have would a person like that have been able to get off in the way that Jussie got off? Maybe not. But I think that...
But to say he got off is also to presume that he did something wrong.
I don't... Well...
I mean,
again, we'll never know. I can't say 100% that, you know, he absolutely was a victim of this crime that he alleges. And I also, I'm being honest, can't 100% say that he... everything that they said that he did. Right. You know, I really truly wonder, like, in the same way that you wonder why, like, Jussie would have done this, I wonder, given the information that given the fact that he was a victim initially, given the fact that, like, essentially the police were on his side before, like, that switch to me just seemed indicative of something. Like, I'm just saying something happened. I don't know what it is. Right. You know, but I really truly believe that, like, something with this Jussie situation is not entirely him being 100% victimized in this situation. And we might not ever know what really happened. But again, that doesn't mean that I want Jussie to go to jail. I'm not screaming lock him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it either. So it's just like it's the nuance, I think, that maybe I'm not seeing, because it's like you have the MAGA folks that have this, like, unfounded and false outrage at the situation when they really don't give a fuck. Like, let's call a spade a spade. They don't really care.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just like the thing to do. But in the same vein, you have people like, because the Chicago police are trash, because Trump is a monster, I'm 100% sure that Jesse did nothing wrong. And I don't think that that's it either.
I mean, right. I think that my stance on it was, I've always seen more of a reason for deception on behalf of law enforcement.
Sure, yeah.
Than him in that instance. And again, that's not to say that, I mean, I don't really know, right? Of course, like, none of us do what actually happened. And I can't say that it didn't, like, there weren't some parts that sounded like, okay, wow, like, that's interesting if that did happen. But more than not, it felt to me like it could be, it at least was plausible that situation happened. No, yeah, right. And for that reason alone, I was like, well, I'm not gonna, voice every little question I have or like every little thing and be like, but okay, that doesn't make sense, so this throws everything else into a tailspin. It's like, no, I definitely could see where there was more pressure on behalf of law enforcement to, okay, even if it did happen, we need to spin this story, because we can't have people, what we all know to be possible of happening right now in our society because of the political climate, because of the social climate and all this stuff, like, there is more of a necessity to quell that sort of thing from you. Like, the Trump administration, the last thing they needed was for something like that to happen to somebody that has a piece of a platform. Because although we know that there's been more inciting of racialized violence and other sorts of violence against different marginalized groups, I feel as though to, like, have something that potentially happened to somebody that does have a platform is kind of like, okay, y'all, like, because you think about the people that were commenting on that situation, right? Like, you had politicians, you had celebrities, you had the public, people like, whoa, like, this is outrageous, like, this is happening in our country, da-da-da. We feel like things don't happen until they happen, even though they happen every day. So I'm saying, for me, I could see where it's like, okay, even if this happened, this doesn't need to, the public can't feel as though that this is happening now.
That's interesting. Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, like,
right.
Neither of us.
It's a great mystery.
Yeah,
it's a great mystery.
It is. But if I'm being completely honest, I think, like, I just want it to end.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
It's just really, really frustrating that
absolutely
it's still going on and all that, because this isn't like taking it to its ultimate conclusion. At least as far as some camps are concerned, like, Jesse absolutely did this, like, he set this all up, it was staged, like, whatever. That, to me, isn't, like, staging a racist, homophobic attack isn't more punishable, even if it's by public opinion, than actual attacks of racism and homophobia. So it's just like, the fact that you're going so hard to punish this person and not punish people who are actually committing these types of things, like people in, like, the shooter in New Zealand, like the hundreds of white men that are constantly the domestic terrorists in this country, like, you're not going to bat for that, Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck you. Like, you just, it's mind-blowing how, like, myopic and, like, how you cannot see your own biases and BS. It's jarring, honestly. it's just like, how I just whatever.
Right.
We're gonna move on.
Exactly. Yes.
So the next one, not that much better, but I don't know, will probably be a shorter conversation. So, like, Cardi, recently there have been videos resurfacing, if you want to call it that, of her, like, IG lives. But maybe they might be pre-Bodak Yellow, but, like, very, very close to that era. You know, the way I said it to somebody was like, they can't be too old because her teeth are fixed in the videos. So it's like, it had to be at least like 2015, 2016. So essentially there are these live IG videos that are popping up where Cardi is talking about her days as a stripper and how she would like take guys and that she knew wanted to have sex with her, take them to a hotel maybe. Essentially drug them and rob them, is what she said. She said that she would put pills in their drinks or make them feel good. And one of the videos she mentions pills. The other video she just says she gets them drunk and gets them feeling good. So, you know, take from that what you will. Either way, they're passed out. She takes their money and I guess she leaves. So there's been a lot of like hashtag surviving Cardi B. There's been lots of like, you know, she's the same as Bill Cosby and a lot of that stuff. So you can go ahead and start this one off if you want to. I
mean, I just think that it's a false equivalency to, if I'm being 100% honest, because drugging someone who like is in your company not with the premise of being sexually intimate with you, drugging them and taking advantage of them sexually is rape. Yes. And that's a whole other thing.
It is a different crime.
Right. Completely. Right?
Yeah.
In this instance, these are men who thought they were going to get something, probably for free.
Yeah, sure.
And they did it. Yeah. They ended up coming off a couple of dollars. And so... And at the end, like, it's not, I can see if, you know, she also, now again, I don't think that this will ever, like, be synonymous with Bill Cosby's BS. But, you know, did she, like, leave them bloodied, battered, and bruised? Did she, no, she, whatever happened. She collected her ducats, and she kept it moving. So now what I have been saying about this case is
next case.
Okay. So I mean, I just think that it's interesting that you have these instances where people are rapping about things or talking about things that they've done, and there's congruence, and then there's also this outrage about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I told somebody, like I was talking about with some good friends of mine, those stories aren't different from Cardi B's stance on, you know, interacting with men, and particularly men in certain spaces. You know, she's said before, some of these dudes need to get used. Like, she said that's been her stance, that's been her energy. And at the same time, like, I personally get it because, you know, you will hear a lot of, you know, songs about, after I let the team G, I kicked her out, you know what I'm saying, or I did this, that, like, all these bitches want bread, da-da-da-da. Like, you have regular schmegular dudes that work at the freaking, like, Popeyes. No, we gonna give them Popeyes. You in line cooking Popeyes, and it ain't no shade to nobody that's your hustle, but you can't be holding down the fries and then tell me something, all bitches want is my bread. But you know what I'm saying? But that's like a prevailing mindset amongst a lot of men. You're right. These women just want money. But you just want to fuck. Or you just want to, you know what I'm saying, like, use and abuse, lay up. And so I'm not going to be upset at a woman for flipping the tables in that situation. Like, now I don't... Now, let me make my...
Go ahead.
Disclaimer. I don't agree in any instance with drugging someone or putting anything in someone's body that they didn't consent to. You know what I'm saying? So that is not okay in my book. But at the same time, it's... Am I falling over myself with grief for these individuals that may have been robbed? No, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I don't think that should be a rule of for how people go about their day.
Sure.
But I will also acknowledge that in certain spaces, in certain communities, in certain ways of life, that is a survival tactic. That is I'm hustling, or I'm trying to keep myself, where I need to be, or get myself to where I need to be. This is how I'm, I guess, making the best out of this situation. So, again, I just was kind of like, with Cardi B, one reason why I don't think that you can really say but so much or have but so much outrage is that she's talking about these things. Like, she came out with this story or shared these stories back in the day.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she was forthcoming about this. Yeah. You didn't have, one of these dudes, and I'm pretty sure there's a reason why, nobody came for it, even as she was blowing up, saying, oh, Cardi, drugged me and stole from me. No, because you was on some ill ass shit. You probably, what I'm saying, who's to say what you wanted to do to her in that situation? Sure. But at the same time, like, I think there's a difference in saying, I used to have to get it like this. Just like a lot of, hip-hop artists that have been involved in the drug game have said that I used to cook it up, cut it up, serve it to the fiends. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's... Even at the end of, 10 Freaky Girls, you hear 21 Savage saying, I ran into a nigga I robbed. You know what I'm saying? He was happy to see me. So, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you think about these different, and even, other females in the game, like, I love Kim. You listen to if you listen to hardcore, on the Scheming, I want to say, it's Scheming the interlude, where they're talking about how they're going to, like, get money out of Biggie and C's and all them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that there's certain ways of life that, because I didn't live them, like, it's like, whoa, like, that's out of the realm of my expertise and experience and possibility. I don't see myself doing that. But that doesn't mean that that's not how someone else has had to do it to come up. As long as she ain't still doing the shit, I'm good. And as long as she's not, saying like, yes, ladies, drop a pill in their drink, then, go get their coins, like, not promote it. I think that sometimes we have to realize that a person speaking their truth isn't always comfortable for people to hear, and it's not always palatable, but your truth is your truth. And if that's something that you were doing, that was something that you were doing, hopefully, you found other ways to get in now so that you don't have to continue to do that.
Right. So, I think I'm going to try to take kind of each of your points in turn, because in a lot of ways I agree. And I think in a lot of ways, there is kind of like with this justice situation, there's a shift in energy, maybe. Like, maybe people who didn't have a word to say about Bill Cosby are now suddenly like, now she's also Bill Cosby. But like, Bill Cosby wasn't even Bill Cosby to you because you didn't see that as an issue.
Exactly.
So I definitely see, I see that as a major issue. I think also though, it's just very... So for me, for whatever reason, and I was explaining this to one of my good friends, it might just be a personal thing. It might just be my own upbringing. But, like, hearing something in a song for me is just different than hearing somebody talk about it. There's just something for me personally, like, when I was looking at those videos, that was, like, a bit jarring. Because there was there was, like, an aggression in her tone. And it's, like, part of it is, like, probably an explanation of her own survival and like maybe being taken back to that place. But then there was part of it where I was just like, there seems to be a bit of a pride here that like I'm personally not okay with. Like, I'm not okay with you. And again, like, this is not my life and these are not my life choices, but I can say what I do and do not support.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't support someone who is proud of the fact that like they would drug people and take them, because you're right, like, the crime is not rape. Rape is not that crime.
No.
But it's theft, you know, or even worse than that, possibly robbery if there's a feeling of a threat of danger involved in that. So it's still criminal, you know? So it's just like, I understand this point of like needing to survive or having to get through. But there was, and I don't know, I mean, I can't give or take away clout from this individual, but there was a guy that got on Instagram, I think got on his Instagram Live, and was claiming that he was one of the victims of like Cardi, and said that like, he wasn't even necessarily like a bad guy, if you want to call it that. I mean, like, he was saying like he didn't tell anybody because he was engaged at the time or maybe about to get married, and he went to the strip club and wanted to have sex with a stripper and ended up getting robbed, which, don't cheat on your fiance, but at the same time, like, maybe wasn't one of those like men that's just after, fucking a girl and leaving her. It's just, I mean, I think that wanting to have sex with the stripper, take from that what you will, but that's very different than like slutting a girl out and like leaving her like
not that different, because there's a reason why you, first of all, you said just because I want to have sex with a stripper, like that, there's a certain mindset that comes with, okay, I want to have sex with the stripper, so I'm going to go to the strip club, because one of them is bound to want to also have sex with me. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, right. It's a strip club. It's not a sex club.
No, sure. But I mean, I think that's why... but I think that's why there's that follow-up conversation of, like, do you want to have sex? Meet me at this hotel room, as opposed to, like, trying to... You see, like,
I see what you're saying, but I also think that, one... It might be the same guy. I don't know if it's been multiple, but I know at least one guy that supposedly came for it was found to be like an actor. Like, he was just making it up. Yeah. So I don't know if this is the same guy, because I didn't see the video. Right. I know I saw a picture of the guy that was in question. But I mean, I think that to that point, that mindset of I want to go, like, there are more men, there are more people, I'll broaden it up because this may be some other people's narrative too, but it's a big trope of tricking off in the strip club and doing whatever it is that you want, or thinking that the girls are there at your disposal if you got the right amount of money.
Okay,
like
right,
that is a thing that happens quite often. Yeah. And so I think that what comes with that is, if I have gone here on this mission, or have pursued this mission of sleeping with a stripper, I've already made my mind up that is what's going to happen, or that is what I'll say that's what I want to happen. To a degree, though, that is what's going to happen. Okay. And so you consider placing yourself in that environment where you have access to the strippers, or to the women who are stripping. And then, okay, you ask them to have sex, or you know what I mean? Like, what does that conversation really look like? And if she is not willing on your terms, then what does that look like? Like,
no, I mean, I think you're right. I don't disagree. I think that that generally for a lot of men, or just people, if we don't want to gender it, there is kind of an expectation of sex when it comes to things like being in a strip club, or things like, there's like this like you said, the sense of like almost entitlement, or like belonging, where it's just like, you owe me something.
Sometimes even when people go on dates.
No, right. No, yeah. I mean, just in life. I mean, people walk through life expecting for people to give them things, including sex. Yes. That is 100% true. For sure. But I think I am not a person who finds issue with sex work. So like, and I don't think that you are either. So it's like, I mean, I guess maybe in my mind I have maybe a more flowery like perception of like just someone saying like, hey, like, $500. Want to have sex? That person being like, sure, and then they go have sex. Like, that to me is less harmful, you know what I'm saying?
And see,
than like,
and I think this is where maybe our perspectives like kind of veer off, because I don't think that those conversations ever happen like that.
Okay.
Or if it does, it's very minimal. And probably not happening in Sue's or whatever club that Cardi was, you know, exhibiting her talents at the time. So, like, I think that, you know, and just because, again, there's so much, like, nothing in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
And everything within context.
Yes.
So, the strip club is the site of a lot of, or is the setting of a lot of, okay, yeah, like, met at the strip club. Like,
and
you know
sex
what I mean?
violence, honestly.
Sex violence, thank you. I was trying to figure out how I want to... that is the site of a lot of sex violence. Yeah. And very rarely are the terms and conditions of... and this is where I will say, because I don't like when people tiptoe around stuff, so I'm going to just specify it to men.
Yeah, okay.
Because that is the example by which we typically have.
Yeah, and that's what we have in this situation. I don't know if he's talking about any women.
Exactly, right. So, like, you know what I mean? And honestly, a lot of men expect sex because they place themselves in a place with a form of sex worker. Yeah. And there has been, I guess, you know, a number of instances where that, you know, stripping is synonymous with other things. Sure. But to presume because I came here for sex, this is a place where, you know,
I'm going
people
to get sex.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know that it's ever just okay, well, like, let me pay you. I definitely think it's a situation of, well, let me see if I can just smash and just keep it moving. You know what I mean? I don't think that there's negotiation of, this is what I'm going to do for you for doing this for me. Yeah.
And I think maybe in my mind it doesn't, like, it's hard for me to rationalize because I'm not this type of person. Mm-hmm. Like, going to a strip club, meeting a stripper and just being like, hey, my hotel room is over there, meet me there, and them actually doing it, and like me not expecting for some wild shit to go down, like they're probably trying to rob me, because like I don't live with an expectation that like people are living to serve me and do what I want for them to do. You don't. So it's just so it's just like, if I, in my mind, and like, I would have to be giving a stripper some money if they're gonna meet me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Or I would have to be offering something beyond, you know, just, you know, the offering. Right. Yeah. That's just, but I mean, you're right. I mean, it could very well have been a situation where someone was just like, Ayo Car, or whatever her name was at the time when she was performing. You know, like, meet me at this hotel, and she was just like, okay, and they legitimately thought that like she was just gonna have sex with him, and then she, you know, but even beyond that, right? So just like maybe the nuance of the middle road for me, like, I just don't think either is okay. And I, the same way that I can understand like someone's survival tactics, I can understand in a very real way being the victim of someone's survival tactic.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Like,
for sure.
It's just not cool. Like, it's just, you know, like, it's just like, sure, like, that's what you need to do to survive, but like, if there's, and I think more so with the person that might be like blameless, you know, it's just a situation of just like, yeah, people rob people all the time, or like in that 21 Savage song, like, yeah, like, thank God you didn't kill that guy that you robbed, you know, or like whatever happens in a lot of these situations, because it's like someone loses their life because you need a come up in life. Like, that's not a fair trade. Yeah. You know? So it's just like, you know, in that way, I can't get behind the behavior. Also, in the same vein, I probably am not going to stop listening to Cardi B anytime soon. Absolutely. So, I mean, and that's just, you know, that's just kind of
the bottom line.
Yeah, that's just kind of the bottom line. So it's just like, trash behavior, sure. She's also like given an IG apology. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to, so it's just a thing of like, and that is, I think, maybe my conclusion of all of this is like, when do we forgive? You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. I mean, if these crimes are still within the statute of limitations, like, I don't know. Maybe she might catch a charge. I don't know. That's not my business.
Right.
But, like,
right.
as far as the court of public opinion, like, at what point is a person still on trial, you know, for the actions of their past after they give an apology, after they get on IG Live and say, I would absolutely not do that now. Thank God I'm in a place where I don't have to do that anymore and I can take care of my baby and do what I need to do without having to do that. Do not do that yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had to. Like, at what point is it just like, great.
We see you, sis.
Yeah. Like, we're going to keep it pushing to the next news cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Moving on. Let's get to some fun things. So we have some music. We have some music that we want to talk about. Some, you know, so we can start off with, I mean, I guess we can start off with that's, you know.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be quick.
Right.
Okay.
So Sierra dropped a single. It is called Thinking About You. It is the fourth or fifth since maybe last, so we have Level Up. Yeah, we have Level Up, Freak Me, Dose.
What is it? No Greatest Love?
Yeah, Greatest Love. Yeah. And then this one. If you're a fan of, or a true fan of On That Note podcast, you would know that episode 2 was an episode fully devoted to Sierra, in which we discussed 3 of those 5. I think at that point, Level Up, Freak Me, and Dose had come out.
Yes.
And we said then, in October...
Yes, we did.
We are waiting.
And at that point, anxiously.
Yeah, right. Because it's like she had a moment where it was kind of like back to back to back.
Okay, and it was like, okay. Like, in these songs, the songs were not trash.
Yeah.
My. November, December, January, February, March. Yeah. A lot can change in 5 months.
Yes.
Here's where I am with it.
Yeah.
I felt strongly that if Sierra did not put out something by the end of 2018, that she would miss the wave.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that, if I'm a fan of you, even if it's like I don't really like the musical direction you're going in, I'm still going to at least listen to your new project when it comes out, right? So when Sierra's putting out new songs, I will listen to them just so I can at least have an opinion either way. This new song isn't it. I don't particularly care for it.
Okay.
And I just know in my heart of hearts that Sierra can do so much more. Yeah. Like, we've seen her do more. Yeah. She's an amazing performer.
Right.
When she has the right song, she can deliver. So I don't know, these pop experiments.
I don't strongly dislike the song, but this is what I dislike about all of this. One, she drops a single and announces an album that will be, it's not even, so she says the album will be released May 10th. I think that's the date. So that's more than a month out. Yeah. We're talking about like at least a month and a half until you drop this project.
Right.
One, I see that getting pushed back, unfortunately. Like, even with this month and a half of preparation time.
But she's signed to her own self now, right?
Yeah, but like, there's something about that says to me, and maybe she will, even if she does release it on time, like, it's still too late because she got Level Up last fall.
No, like, Level Up came out like in the summertime.
Even worse. So we're talking about close to a year of you know, dropping something and falling to the wayside, and dropping something and falling to the wayside, and that part coupled with the fact that all 5 singles sound like they could come from 5 different albums. Like, what is the sound? What is the sound of this album going to look like? And also, if none of the other singles are going to be on, like, let's say she doesn't use some of these singles, that's a waste. So it's just like...
Especially not in favor of this new song.
I think all of that is just indicative of Sierra not being entirely sure of who she is as an artist. And that comes down to scheduling, that comes down to sound, that comes down to rollouts, that comes down to like just what she chooses to do musically.
Yeah.
It's just scattered. It's just very scattered, and it makes me wonder who is telling her what, and at what point does she decide to make the decisions that she makes, because it just doesn't seem planned. And you can tell when an artist is just like throwing an album together and when it's a project in like a cohesive body of work, which is like, write that down because we're gonna use that. I think we use that a lot. Yes. So for a previous conversation that we had. So it's not a cohesive body of work. And I don't know. And again, you said it. At the end of the day, both you and I are going to listen to this album. Right. Like, and that's what it is. But we absolutely, as fans, are going to come back and give you all some critique and some very, fair, but also some
very
honest critique.
I mean, and it's out of love, If I didn't care about Sierra, I wouldn't talk about her music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't see me talking about Kodak Black.
Yeah.
Like...
Why would I? Yeah.
So...
But
I need better. But I will say, if the single... So what I saw that had the album title on it, if that's the album cover...
Yeah. That's the single. Like, yeah. What is it called? It's called Beauty Marks. Yeah.
I'm here for that. Yeah. I'm here for that title, and that cover looks amazing.
I felt the same way about Jackie.
Well, you're right.
It's just like beautiful. Like, I am ready for what this look is giving, and then she just didn't do it. Like,
and maybe this is gonna be, as should have been the case a couple of other times in Sierra's career. Maybe this will rightfully be just a buzz single, and not on the final track listing. Okay. And if it is, it's just surrounded by a lot of good shit. Yeah. So
because again, like up until. Well, maybe Greatest Love too. Like I said, 3 out of the 5 I would put on the same album.
Oh, for sure, because it's like it's different, but it still tracks. Like it's still
it tells us a certain story. I think of performing or
musically.
I don't know. Yeah. And again, it's just like she is like. At the end of the day, more of an entertainer and a performer than she is a singer.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm not sure if she knows that.
I mean...
Because she tries things sometimes, and I'm just like, you should know what your wheelhouse is. Yeah. Like the Dose and the Freak Me and the Level Up is not like... And not to say that she can't give you... Like, I like songs like I Bet. I like... Well, did you say you didn't like And I?
No.
Right. Mm-hmm. I did. I mean, she can do a ballad.
Yeah, she good. Because she good. Because she had a couple of ballads on the Evolution.
Exactly.
That were great.
Yeah. So she can do it, but like that should not be
her go-to.
Exactly, and definitely not like what you use as your promotion for an album, because that's not the type of artist that you are. Mm-mm. And I'm not sure if she even knows that.
Well, see, I think that one of her issues is that she has not created synergy with a producer since
I love that word.
Jazzy Faye.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Since Jazzy Faye. And maybe like even like a Missy. Like, I really think that Sierra should just like give Missy the reins of like a whole project. Or
why not?
You know what I mean?
The same way that, look, Drake and 40 have been using the same formula for decades at this point. Like, or at least a decade.
Yeah.
So like...
There's something to be said for that. There's a reason why Justin Timberlake will never stray too far away from Timberland. There's a reason why Beyonce ain't going too far from the dream.
Just like, do what people are... There's nothing wrong with living up to expectations sometimes. Just do what's expected of you. You know? Just do that. That thing that people look for you to do. Just do that thing and do that well. And I think that, like, because no one else is going to do Sierra like Sierra, but I need for Sierra to do Sierra in order for us to get some Sierra. So, like...
And the other black ass bottom line in it all, too, is that there's too many new chicks on the scene. There's too many new girls out there.
Right. Normani has been giving you choreo. If nothing else, she's been giving you choreo.
Because she ain't really gave me nothing else. But, I mean, right, the girls can dance, you know.
Yeah.
Like, the girls can dance, they can sing, they got some cute songs on, give us some good visuals. Sierra,
come on.
If you're listening, baby sis, sister love, give us some heat now.
Yeah.
Because even your peers, we know Ree coming.
Yes.
Like, and we know B coming.
Yes.
At some point. So all y'all girls need to get y'all shit together, get your albums out.
Before the train comes.
Okay? It just passes you right up by. Like, I'm not going to say it again.
And pummels you in the process.
Hello? Shoot. Y'all playing. Y'all is playing.
Because Rihanna, the chick that will say, oh, you announced that your album is dropping May 10th? I'll just drop my album May 10th. And you know she will.
And I'm going to give the girls the discount of
don't like
beauty.
Her.
Okay?
You know.
They had gotten over that.
Sure. But Rihanna
is the same way that Brandy and Monica got over that stuff. But no, I really do. I love, like, I really enjoy Sierra, and I really want her to come back out and just to have a presence.
Yes.
Well, speaking of other people, I want to lead off the next one. Go. Somebody else that recently announced a new album coming is the one and only Queen B, Little Kim herself. She's releasing her, what is this, her 5th album? Hardcore, Tory Scared, the Bella Mafia, Naked Truth. Yes, her 5th studio album on May 17th. It's called 9. I look forward to figuring out what that means.
It's probably sexual.
This is why I love it. But this is her first album in 14 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy to think that we have
gone.
So
what's that, 2005?
Okay. And she released The Naked Truth like right after she had started her prison sentence. So being able to promote it, she was
not able to.
Right. But I'm really excited about this because one, I've just been waiting for a new body of work from Kim for a minute, and she gave us the hardcore 2K14 mixtape back in 2014, and I was about to think about that for a little bit too long. I was like, 2014. Right. And then she gave us the Lil Kim season mixtape. Yeah. I think maybe a year or two after that. So she's been like giving us some like glimpses.
Can't forget about Black Friday.
Oh, yeah, you know, the critically acclaimed Black Friday that came out in 2011? Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Circa spring 11.
Okay.
I remember that vividly.
Woo! Okay.
Great times.
Okay,
Great
yes
times.
Indeed. But you know, I think Kim she's an artist that doesn't always get the appreciation she's due. Yeah. I think that I've been comforted in the last year and a half, 2-3 years, that I feel like more people are really like shouting her out and giving her the love that she deserves, because I mean, there aren't very many artists that could be in the game as long as she has, especially as a female rapper. Yeah. It's just you don't get that,
because a lot of, you know, I think about Latifah, Queen Latifah. I think about MC. A lot of them have just you know, moved on to other ventures. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're not primarily rappers,
right?
Even if they are making music, still, you know, Queen Latifah, we ain't got a rap album for her in a minute. So I think with Kim, I really hope that she can like adds to her legacy in a really powerful way with this new record. Yeah. She just released the video for her single "Go Off." I mean, you know, it's a good video. It's a good. I like the beat. I like the fact that I'm getting a new Lil Kim video and song, but I am really waiting for the track that she comes out and just reminds like everybody who the fuck she is. Yeah. Like, I just want Kim to come out like just tearing niggas apart on the track. Yeah. And I am confident that she's gonna give me that.
Okay.
My girl ain't gonna disappoint me.
We will touch and agree on that.
Yes.
I don't doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just really want that for you, especially because I know that Kim is your girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah. So I think the last project that we're gonna talk about is Saweetie's EP.
Yes.
Yeah. So that dropped, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's real easy to get through, you know,
it
just
is
a few
like
tracks. But exactly. But I mean, it's what you need. You know, you know, it's short and sweet and to the point. I like it a lot.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it too. And so I'm reminded of about a year ago when one of my old roommates sent me the Icy Girl remix.
Oh, yeah.
With her and Kehlani.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, like I like this, but I also was like, Kehlani kind of ran away with this song. Like she ripped the track.
Yeah.
And I saw the video. I was like, okay, she's cute. Like she has a little bit of a presence about her. Like
she's a pretty girl.
She is, right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the reemergence of pretty girl rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really looking for you to be like busting shots and that in the street, but like you gonna give me some tracks about how much of a boss bitch you are, okay?
Exactly. And how much money you can get men to spend on you.
Exactly.
It's so gorgeous.
Okay, because you got it like that.
Yeah.
And then I looked at some of her interviews, and I will say that what I appreciated about her is that even though, because I'm in particular reminded of an interview she did with Ebro and I think Laura.
Okay.
I want to say it's Laura Styles or something. Okay. But she did an interview with them, and she asked him if she could like rap for him or whatever. And you know, he gave her some feedback and saying, you know, you need to work on some things and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was like, oh, but you know, it's great to see somebody that wants to improve themselves and get out there and improve. And so I think that, you know, she has been continuing to get her sound right and definitely has raised her profile. You know, is she gonna go down as of this moment? Is she gonna go down as one of the most lyrical females or one of the most lyrical rappers? Probably not. Yeah. But I think she is in a lane, and I think that she's getting that lane perfected. And she has good music. Yeah. Like the samples that she calls upon are really good.
Yeah.
Like,
my type.
Okay, my type. Listen, giving us that Pablo Freak Elite sample.
I've listened to that song maybe about 10 times.
Okay.
Since that dropped on Friday.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and when I'm listening to a song like that, I'm not looking for the best, most lyrical rap. Yeah. Like I'm just like, this is a turn up track. Or even emotional, where she's using that freaking Shy Lights sample that Beyonce used.
Yes.
And
and it's so
Crazy in Love.
Yeah, I loved that too. Mm-hmm. And it was that was done well. Yeah. And I mean, like, what I love about female rap right now is there is space for someone like that. Right. You know, if we can have a Trippie Redd, a Blueface, whoever, Lil Xan, whoever you want to call it, like, let us have somebody like a Saweetie who's just like pretty and will give you a nice little bop and something to shake your ass to, and like we're gonna call it a day.
Exactly.
Like, I love that because it's like everybody doesn't have to be, and this was, you know, like, just give spaces. Give spaces and opportunity. I love it. I love it. And I think that I'm looking forward to, like you said, just like what she's going to be able to do. And just the diversity and variety that we get in female rap. I think,
absolutely. Yeah. And my last note on that is something that me and my friend Evangeline were talking about also. Shout you out, girl. But just how, you know, she's in this relationship with Quavo. Right. And thinking of, you know, just for the obvious comparison, Cardi and Offset. Yes, it's something about the way that the Migos men like will make music with, you know, the women that they're dating. But do it in a way that's like, I'm gonna make sure that you're featured prominently. You know what I'm saying? Or like supporting and being willing to jump on tracks or stuff like that. I think like that's pretty dope, and that's like supportive in a way that you don't always see rappers, you know, being.
They had strong male figures in their households growing up.
Right.
And I think that whether they want y'all to know that or not, like, I think they have some good daddies, and I think that like is prevalent in the way that they, and I mean, they're not perfect by any by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay, we've talked about that.
But I think there is something to be said for having an example in your life. And you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to be your immediate household, but having an example of a man treating a woman right and seeing that, and emulating that in your own relationships when you come of age. I think that is at least the attempt that is trying to be made. I think because even with Offset, at the end of the day, I think he's trying to get it right. Yeah. With Quavo, I think he's trying to like, you know, be that person. So.
Right. Instead of like getting with a female that's on a come up and trying to get them to abandon their career or something like that. You know, because that happens. Yes. So
or just overshine them. You know, beyond that. You know. Right. Yeah.
So so go ahead, sweetie.
Yeah. So let's do.
I mean, because we could save.
What you want to do? I mean, we can like do a brief kind of talk about this if you want, without like a full. I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay.
We're deciding some things right now. If y'all could not tell. But it's honestly up to you. I'm down for whatever.
Okay. I think we can. Yeah, we can get through the last couple of things.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We'll try really hard.
Okay.
So something else that we wanted to talk about. Well, we can do all of the. Do you want to do all of the music stuff first and then get to?
Oh yeah.
This?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Sure. So. And I guess I'll do this and you do that.
Okay.
We figured it out. All right. Okay. So something else that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about yet, even though the announcement has been out for a little while, is Something in the Water, the music festival. Yeah. Yes. I know you're really, really excited. I won't be able to make it. But I know that it's probably going to be great, and it's going to be a really good festival, and then also just what it represents. Yeah, I think is awesome.
I mean, absolutely. I think that just having a big music festival like that, like, you know, being from the Richmond area, like, you know, we've had, you know, Stone Soul for you know a while.
Lord have mercy.
And you know, but in terms of like a multi-day music festival. That's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And something else that comes to mind is like the Hampton Jazz Festival, but very, very, very different.
It's a different access point, right? And so I'm really excited that Pharrell is on this, and that Pharrell, because even though he's from, you know, Virginia Beach, he could have done this anywhere. And so I'm happy that he's bringing this to the Tidewater area, to Virginia Beach, and the artist lineup is sickening, you know, like, I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's a good mixture of, like, people that have been in the game for a minute, some newer people. Like, one of the newer people in the game that I'm really excited about seeing is the E4.1. Okay. Just amazing female rapper. Get into her. Just an amazing rapper, period. Sometimes when I say female rapper, I think about it in my head, like, we don't have to designate.
We don't have to. Yeah. I mean, yes, like, it is a category, I think, to be discussed and addressed, but, like, also you can just be a good rapper.
Exactly. She's just an amazing rapper, period. But yeah, Missy and Chris Brown and all them, so.
And something else that this does also is provide revenue for that community. So you think about the businesses that will be able to be there, you know, like, the hotels and the restaurants and all that other stuff, just like the economic power that I think that Pharrell is giving to Virginia Beach, like you said, is something that he did not have to do.
Right.
But I think that was intentional as well, and something I think to be prideful for. Yes. You know. So yeah, no, I'm excited in a different way because I won't be there, but just the effect and the impact on the culture, I think, is something that's really special and really important. It makes me feel good about where I'm from. So,
yes. So if you're gonna be out there, let us know.
Yeah.
And I hopefully will see you. So one of the other things we want to talk about is on April 2nd, a giant in music. I want to say it's April 2nd. I'm pretty sure it is. A giant in music would have been turning 80 years old. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, his life was cut down over 30 some odd years ago now. But we're talking about none other than Marvin Gaye. Mm-hmm. And I was excited on Friday to partake in an event by a local DC artist, Depender. Okay. He did the Marv by Depender event, and he created a number of pieces that just kind of celebrated Marvin Gaye. And you know, had a event with a DJ, and he recreated he had the banners and stuff, you know, the I Want You album cover. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like to create like the Sugar Shack picture. Yeah. And so it was just really dope to be at an event, celebrate a local Black artist who is celebrating another local Black artist because Marvin Gaye is from DC. Yeah. And to really just see the spirit and legacy and memory of Marvin be celebrated when, you know, sometimes he can feel like a person that as time has gone on is not on our consciousness or isn't really being discussed. I do know that Motown just recently released an album that had been previously unreleased on vinyl for the first time on Friday. And so I thought about getting that, but I haven't gotten it yet. Yeah. But
you will probably.
You're right. Okay. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout Depender out. Yeah. I left with an amazing piece that I will take and post on my social media later. Yeah. But so that was dope.
Yeah. No. I think it's so important, especially for people like Marvin who meant so much and had such an unfortunate end to their life. I think it's really important to celebrate those people and just to remember. And maybe we've talked about this before, but we just have such a rich history as a people.
For sure.
And it's so important to maintain that history and to remember and to honor those that have come before us.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
As a music show, we have to...
Yeah.
We're going to always do that here.
For sure. So yeah, the last kind of thing we wanted to talk about, because this is like just a huge cultural thing that has happened within the last couple weeks. And we've both had the opportunity to experience it in different ways. But so Us is what we're talking about. We're talking about Us.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about the movie. And just kind of some things. So, spoiler alert.
Yes.
We're going to give you a little bit of time, and I'm talking now so that you know that this is a conversation where we will be discussing kind of in depth some of the movie and things like that. So, and we'll do a timestamp so you can skip if you have not seen the movie, but also go see it. What are you doing?
Right.
So, let's start talking now. Okay, so
what did you think?
So you know or might not know, I do not do... People are telling me it's not a scary movie, and, you know, whatever. I'm allowed to have an opinion. You know, but scary movies or thrillers or... that's just not something I would choose to do or watch in my own spare time, just because I have a very overactive imagination. But, you know, I had the same way with Get Out. It was just a thing of, like, this is a moment for us. This is a moment for the culture. I have to see this.
Absolutely.
So I was prepared, and my good friend came with me, and I had to sleep over afterwards just to make sure that I was okay. I told him, I was like, okay, we're going to see this movie, and then you're sleeping on my couch because I will not be.
I will not be alone.
Yes, I don't want to be alone tonight. Is the song that I say. But no, I mean, so let me be completely honest.
Okay.
The movie took some digestion.
Okay.
Like, I had to sit and think and grapple and converse for me to really pull from it what I needed to pull from it.
Right.
Because, yeah, just storyline wise, and I'll do that after you talk a little bit too. But yes, for right now, that is what I'll say. I definitely needed some time to sit with it.
Okay.
But yeah. But you had a very special experience.
I did.
This movie.
So after standing in a line for over 2 hours, I did get a ticket to a special screening on my campus, and it was amazing because.
What campus is that? Everyone knows what you're talking about.
The one and only Howard University.
And so you were at the screening. This was all over social media. We saw the swag surfing. We saw the we know what you're talking about.
I was there.
Yeah.
Along with Jordan Peele, Lupita, and Winston. My God, beautiful people.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting, right? Going into the movie, I mean, I was just super, super excited because, thinking about Get Out, and I didn't even realize for a little bit that moment was 2 years ago.
Right.
But just thinking about okay, how has the world continued to evolve and change in those 2 years, in addition to all the bullshit?
And evolve. Into pure shit.
Oh,
yeah.
So it was just what has Jordan Peele cooked up this time? And when that trailer premiered on Christmas Day, and I was sitting there, I remember, I don't know where I was, but no, I was about to conflate the two.
Yeah.
That was when I saw the Get Out trailer.
Yeah.
The Us trailer, though, because I was thinking about where I was. I was I was laying in a dark room, but no, different movie trailer. But when I saw the Us trailer, I remember just sitting there being like, oh, God. When is this?
Oh, my God.
Because I don't even... I can't remember if at that point we knew who was going to be in the movie.
No, we did.
Did we know Lupita was in there?
Yeah, that was the so they announced it at some award show, I can't remember, and they just had the poster, and it was kind of like that Rorschach painting of the ink blot, Yes. And that was the advertisement for a long time. So it was just what
is next?
Yeah. But then the actual trailer that dropped Christmas Day was the one with I Got 5 on it. And,
What I'm saying so we knew when they announced at that awards show who was going to be starring.
I think all they said at that point was Lupita, and it wasn't that it was a white woman, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that woman that was actually the mother in the. It was. I want to say they said Michelle Williams at first. Am I making that up?
We'll do some investigation later.
It was. I feel like they announced someone that I knew tangentially, but it wasn't that. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Not the point. We're not here to talk about the white people.
No. Okay. Okay.
Period.
And neither is Jordan for all that. But so at any rate, when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess too connected to when I saw the Get Out trailer, just okay, but what is this gonna be about? And especially knowing that Get Out had that layer of social commentary and stuff like
Racial
that.
Tension.
Right. I was really excited to see what was going to be the big thing in this movie.
Yeah.
And I will say that I don't think he disappointed.
Yeah.
I've talked to a number of people that felt a way about it. But I think that even Jordan Peele said this. He was Get Out was a movie about race.
Yeah.
It was That was the central theme. I think with us, there are so many themes that you don't leave the theater with the same resolve that you had at the end of Get Out. And I think that that's what troubled a lot of people, or that's what made people think that one was better than the other. I definitely think that what he's doing in terms of creating social thrillers, I love it because he has repurposed a genre that has largely excluded Black people
and harmed.
Right.
You know.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's like flipping horror on its head in a way that I think is great by centering stories about Black people, but stories that with themes that are also applicable to people across racial or you know, any sort of like lines we could like draw in the sand. So so that's like my overview, and just like being able to hear them talk about you know
and that was
during the movie,
like, very, very helpful.
It was so it was hearing Lupita talk about how she like went about preparing for that role as Red. Like give her everything,
all of them.
Like, I don't want an award to be
yes.
I don't care if it's best actor. I don't care if it's best original score. Lupita Nyong'o. Okay, like that
every
is
time.
Because when you think about like those two roles in that film and how
it's her movie
went for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And like, when have we ever seen a Black woman centered?
The thing is, we haven't.
Period.
Never is
you know what I'm saying?
Answer to that question.
So in the year of our Lord 2019. So I really love that, and I would say that was a pleasant surprise for me because, you know, of course by the time the movie came out I knew she was in it, but I didn't realize that she was like the star. And I love that, and I love that for her. So I think to me her and the son were the
and even because I was gonna say even the performances of the tethered were like, she was still like everyone else. Like, yes, there were very, very strong performances, but she was the only one that was able to talk. You know, like none of them had any speaking roles, so all of it was just kind of like performance acting.
That's right.
But she was the leader. You know, even and that's interesting, right? So like you would expect for it to be patriarchal, and it's not. You know, like she was the matriarch of that family and the leader.
Absolutely.
You know. So shout out to that, and shout out to Jordan Peele for creating a story in which that is the case.
Exactly.
But then beyond that, can I get a little bit?
You sure can.
So much.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, so the thing that I had to just, I guess, release from, as far as like what I was holding on to, the twist at the end. That to me just felt, in terms of the actual story, so like beyond the commentary, beyond like what is being said, like underneath the story, it felt a little bit inconsequential. The twisted one kind of saw it coming, but only because so one, there's the beginning of the movie where she wears the Thriller t-shirt, but then Lupita, because I was part of what I did in preparation for this movie was I watched a lot of interviews to like humanize the actors so that I wasn't as scared going into the movie. I do not like scary movies. So I watched a lot of like Lupita interviews, and there were lots, like she showed up to Stephen Colbert and she had like these contacts in, and there were a couple other points where like she had these kind of like cat-like, kind of like Thriller-like contacts in. So I was like, I know how this story is gonna end. Like I see what's happening. I'm following the breadcrumbs. So when you actually see that twist and you see what happens, we already said there were spoilers. So when you find out that, like, you know, the actual Red, if you want to call her that, is like Adelaide, and Adelaide is Red, vice versa. The reason why it felt inconsequential to me was because, like, they had essentially spent their whole lives as the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, like, Adelaide, the original Tethered was still the mother and wife of the above ground family. Right. She was still working to protect. Like there was no real danger at that point because that was still her family and she was still going to take care of them. So it was just like in the initial moment, it felt inconsequential because I was just like, okay, this doesn't mean any, like, as far as the continued story, because Red is now dead, you know, and all this other stuff. But the way that works on a deeper level is the commentary behind it, and the fact that, like, it's us, you know, and really so, like, I don't know if I showed it to you, but so I have one of my best friends, actually, I've known him since we were 5. He lives out in LA. His name's S.A. He wrote, he's a writer out there, but he wrote this blog post that was essentially, it was like an overview. Like, it doesn't get too much into, like, the nitty gritty and, like, theories and stuff like that, but it's a really, really great overview of the story. And in part of it, he kind of talks about how he kind of had to sit and digest it also, but then he also talks about how the twist really makes it so that as an audience member, you have to take a step back and realize just like we are the hero. One, we are the hero, can potentially be the hero and villain of our own stories. And then 2, like, what makes a hero, what makes a villain, why were either of the Adelaide or Reds, like, more deserving of the life that the above ground Adelaide lived than the other, you know, as someone who could be a tethered or marginalized or anything like that. Like, why wouldn't you want that life for yourself if given the opportunity? Why wouldn't you take a hold of that, even if that meant the detriment? This kind of goes back to the Cardi thing, like, to the detriment of somebody else. That's kind of crazy. Okay, but you know, like it's interesting. Absolutely. It's interesting.
And I mean, and so that was because I didn't really want to know too much going into it. I was like, I just want to, like, get the film, and then after I saw it, I looked at, like, pretty much every like theory video explained, right? So, but one thing Jordan Peele, like, kept, like, emphasizing was that this film was about duality, and the film is about, you know, exploring both sides of a person, both sides of a situation, etc. And so, in thinking about that, a couple of things that I thought about as I was watching the film, and then a couple of things that kind of, like, arose for me afterward. While I was watching the film, or, like, after I finished, one thing I wrote down was, okay, us or US?
Yes. And that's it. Works on all the levels.
You know what I mean? And it does levels. Because at that one point, when they ask, "Who are you?" and Red is like, "We're Americans."
That just scared me again.
Right? And so to take that one step further, for me, the film was a lot about how those groups, those populations that have been marginalized, that have been repressed, that have been held down for so long, but, like, they've been held down for so long, they've been ignored. How as a country we cannot continue to ignore, right? And to take it another step further, just thinking about the shifting demographics of the United States, and how we are steadily and increasingly moving toward being a majority minority country. But recognizing that what that means is that there's going to have to be death to a lot of mores, a lot of current social norms, to a lot of shit that has just been branded as acceptable, or, well, that's just the way it is. A lot of that has to change in order for this country to be able to function for the people that are going to be dominantly represented in this country moving forward. And so, as anything, with a change of the guard, with an overturning, you know, some people are gonna get hurt. And that's just, you know, what it is. But at the end of the day,
maybe more ideologically than, like, actually exciting. We don't want a civil war.
I'm not gonna pop up scissors on the body. But at the end of the day, you know, there is going to be
some things are gonna have to die,
and a lot of people are gonna have to look themselves in the mirror and see where they want to stand. And you know what I mean. So and people are going to have to confront a lot of truths about themselves and about others. And so I think in that way, what he gave us was a film about not only currently where we are, but where we're going, which is why at the end of the film, you see those people holding hands for as long as the eye can see, because to connect it back to the whole concept of Hands Across America, this is a visual display, a visual showing of, you know, being united against certain principles, against certain negative aspects of life conditions in this country. And so to flip that on its head, you have people joining hands to represent, well, this is how we're moving forward. And even hearing him speak on the Hands Across America like tie-in, he was saying how he came across that commercial that he has her watching in the beginning, and was just like, this is super creepy. Like, because in the 80s where you have, you know, rampant, you know, you have the crack epidemic that has, you know, AIDS, right? You have this Reagan era trichonomics that isn't working for anybody, right? It's like
lots of homelessness,
you know, right? And so he's like, but you have all these people on the TV that are like all giddy and like, I'm gonna give $5-10 and stand in a line and hold somebody's hand, and everything is fixed. And so just think about like the dark undertone of what life looked like for a lot of people while this is simultaneously happening. And then
also it's honestly a bit of unawareness to think that something like that was like the answer to the problem. You know,
it's to think that the people who chose to partake in that, like you have the clips of like Ronald and Nancy Reagan like joining hands, but it's like. You do realize that a lot of your policies are causing the homelessness with which you're standing there trying to work against.
And also on a petty level, like rivers and mountains exist. This was never gonna how
nonsensical.
Make it make sense.
Nonsensical, right? And so, but what you do have is people who, because they've been pushed down so long and so far, this version of a Hands Across America will be successful because they know they come from a more realistic vantage point, and they've been planning and they've been working at it. Exactly. So they know that even all of them won't make it. And so one of my last points, well, I actually have two more. But one of them is, even though this film isn't about race in the same way as Get Out, it's about race. Because one, that white family was taken out and...
Out of here! Baby. Get them out of
here! Okay? Get to stuff. Like, when I say baby...
But even that, right? It's just this idea of, like, willful blindness. You know? Just, like, you would have never seen this coming.
No,
you know?
And isn't that interesting? Because, and I was making this point the other day, the black family had limited, like, viewpoints out into the yard and outside of their home, right?
Yeah. Glass windows.
Glass windows. And y'all still ain't catch shit.
Listen, that's
you
a
know
word.
What I'm saying? Like,
that is a word.
So, you know what I mean? Like, it's something to be said for that happening in the way that it did.
Yeah.
And just the fact that this black family was able to, like, out of all these people being taken out, like, they are the ones that have, like, made it. Now, we don't know what their next destination is, but I have a feeling they're going to be all right. And here's why. So that end scene with Jason and Adelaide, it didn't, something about it struck me as like, but it wasn't until I watched one of the, like, mini videos I watched where the theory was put forth that Jason had been switched at some point. And I really believe that that is the case. I think that he and Adelaide have a bond unlike any other bond in the movie.
Family,
and you could tell that she is just, like, protective of him. But there is something about, he just knew a lot of things that it's conceivable he would not have known if he did not have a level of
understanding of what the situation was.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, one, he was the only one that realized he could control his tether. And even in that scene, you see Adelaide almost kind of like, I don't like...
And for both of her kids. Like, when both of the children of the tethered children die, there's this moment of like, I don't know.
Right. You know? Like her wanting to kind of save them.
Save or protect.
Right. Yeah. The fact that when he was digging on the beach earlier in the movie, what was he doing? Building a tunnel.
Tunnels, yeah.
And I was just like, at the time, I was like, did they say he was building a tunnel? That's odd. Mm-hmm. But so just thinking about these things.
And then he has a rabbit in his lap.
He does.
At the end.
Yes, he does. So it's definitely
Jason is also a horror character that puts on a mask. So
right.
Yeah. Right. He also had a Jaws shirt on, which was like representative of like a monster from beneath. So there are lots of
lots of tie-ins.
Yeah, there are lots of tie-ins.
So I think that like with the way Jordan Peele works, he probably was like, okay, like people are gonna be like, of course, like the real Adelaide is red and such and so forth, but people aren't gonna catch this one. Yeah,
and I think, that's just very interesting. I had a point. I lost it, but it's fine. No, it's okay. It wasn't your fault. I do think that is interesting, right? So just like, and you don't really know when the switch occurred or anything like that, but like, yeah, I don't know. My God.
Right. Just
yeah. So what I'm gonna do really quickly is give a bit of like a syllabus, some like required reading, if you will.
Okay, nice.
So if you want to dive deeper into some of the stuff that was going on in this movie, because we have, one of our good Ashley friends and I were having this conversation just about like Black consciousness and duality and how it isn't about race, but it is about race and all this other stuff. So just a few things to read. Native Son by Richard Wright is some good reading to get into as far as the story is concerned. Invisible Man by Ralph Waldo Emerson is another good one. So just this idea of...
Isn't it Ralph Ellison?
Right. What did I say?
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
What is that? Who is that?
That's, I think, Ellison. A white poet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That one. Ralph Ellison. I'm sorry. And then, because there's this idea of... And Jordan Peele kind of says this sometimes too. Like, he said he always had this fear of, like, being on the subway and watching a train go by and like seeing himself and just like that other self like just smiling at him and just like disappearing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then also Langston Hughes' I Too Am America. That's like just a poem. So you can read that right now. You can pull that up on Google. Like that is especially considering the point, because it felt like a little cheeky. Like when they said that, I was like, okay, I guess, you know, but like, but it works and it makes sense when you unpack it, because there's this idea in that poem of being underrepresented, being marginalized, and saying no, like I am a part of this country, I'm a part of this narrative, and I am not included in this narrative. So yeah.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I'm trying to go see it again.
I am going to see it again, probably.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
I may honestly wait until it's a situation where I can watch it in my home with lots of people that love me around me in the light of day. But yeah. But I mean, this won't be the last project from Jordan. I'm gonna keep seeing these movies.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's just something that I have to do because it's good. Like it's quality, and that's the thing. And we just, I love us. I love us. I love us. You know, because it's just like what we're able to do, and it's like because of what we've gone through, because of the plight of like our people and all this other, like what we're able to create and come up with in our minds is something that. It's universal because we have had to assimilate to the mainstream, but then it's also so very like ingenuitive. Is that a word?
Ingenious.
Ingenious. Speaks to ingenuity, but then also just like never been done before. Never was the same. Right.
Honestly, like to your point,
not afraid to reference non-reference.
I'm not doing this, but I do think that Black creatives are able to advance and put forth conversations and dialogues through their art that would otherwise go undiscussed, unnoticed, untalked about, even though it has such a huge impact on how we function as a society. Which is why while I can have a movie or have movies that I love going and just laughing at, I am appreciative of also being able to have films that cause me to think or allows me to reflect or allows me to say, like, I get it. I get why the Black family still made it, or you know what I'm saying, or like I get what is happening here, and I love that is what's happening.
And it's original story, like that's first of all, that's just not happening in American filmmaking right now.
I was about to say everything
is a sequel, everything is a reboot, everything is a comic book, everything is a book. Like to have an idea, like to have an idea and translate it to screen. You know, I mean, I think about things like Star Wars. I think about things that are just like so earth-shattering and world-changing, but just from the mind of one person for the purpose of film. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. And again, just super proud and very, very appreciative to be living in a time such as this.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, that was a great note, I think, to end on.
Yeah.
I think that we had some other things that we were going to discuss, but I think they can hold. We can wait on those.
Yeah.
But just know, for anyone that did fill out our survey, we have been looking at the results. So thank you so much for your feedback, and we will be working some of those suggestions and some of those things into future episodes. So...
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that concludes this part of the episode. Right?
Yeah. Do we want to give them a clue about what's coming next week?
Yeah. Well, yes. Let's see.
Okay, I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as you all will recall, before we did Boyz II Men's 2 album, I said that was one of 2 projects that we absolutely had to cover on this season. I was talking about albums from 1994, albums that are turning 25 this year. The next album that we will be doing is the other project that just absolutely, and this is like one of my, much like one of my favorite albums ever, one of the best R&B albums I think that has ever been put together. So that is a clue for me.
Right, yeah. No, and just to follow up on that, I think if you listen to the rest of this season, like the other part of that clue is answered.
Yes.
So you would be able to like parse through and find what it is, who it is that we're talking about. Or maybe you just have a good memory, and you're able to remember what it is or who it is that we said this was going to be. So, until next time, we will keep you in suspense, and catch you on the flip side.
Boom. So. Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right, see ya.